Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Hua Yuesheng was certain she would lose her life to that shockingly powerful and fast arrow. Many thoughts flashed in her mind during the brief moment between her breaths. She had many unresolved regrets and many things that she had yet to accomplish. She did not expect the pavilion master to show up at that moment. Lu Zhou's appearance gave her a great sense of security. It was as though she had found her mainstay and a dependable backer. She fell to her knees immediately. Hua Yuesheng thanks the pavilion master for his life-saving act. Lu Zhou waved his hand. A surge of energy brought her back up to her feet as he said, "This isn't the time for that." Understood. Hua Yuesheng immediately adjusted her posture. She wielded her falling moon bow and said, "There should be a godly archer who's at least at the five-leaf stage at the southwestern corner." "He's not merely at the five-leaf stage," Lu Zhou said as he stroked his beard. "Huh?" Lu Zhou stepped forward. Outside the Great Hall, he looked down at the battlefield. Hua Wudao had seen the shocking arrow shot as well. Hua Yuesheng could no longer be seen at the point where the moonlight was the brightest. His widened eyes turned red. He felt his old and tired heart break. He moved his arms and broke free of Lang Luo's grasp. "Hua Yuesheng. Elder Hua, what are you doing?" Lang Luo frowned. Compared to him, Lang Luo was much calmer and more rational. Hua Wudao broke free and advanced instead of retreating. The evil Sky Pavilion disciples hovered before the mountain with a shocked expression on their faces. "Elder Hua, are you out of your mind?" Yet, Hua Wudao did not seem to hear them. His eyes were aflame as he unleashed his 9-script 6 compatible seal. Primal chi surged wildly from his body. He cried out, "You'll pay with your life." The most powerful 6 compatible C in history appeared. The sect master of the Celestial Masters sect, Taoist Master Zhou Yuan, who was charging forward was taken aback by this development. Perhaps, Hua Wudao's fighting style had been one that was passively defending all of his life. Over the past 20 years, he struggled against his trauma with the sole purpose of proving that a cultivator could pursue a simple aspect of cultivation to its extremes. That was how determined and tenacious he was. He was willing to spend 20 years just to overcome a trauma. He would spend 100 years to make up for a regret. He would avenge his kin with his life. The 9 scripts of the 6 compatible seal were spinning at an unprecedented speed. Hua Wudao stood among his Taoist seals and joined his palms. There was only one person left in his sight, Zhou Yuan, the sect master of the Celestial Masters sect. The vast 6 compatible seal shot past the heads of the Yuan sect's 9 elders. Energy scattered, and the 9 of them reeled back. Blood rained down onto the surroundings. The gap between their strengths was clearly displayed. On the other hand, Zhou Yuan looked excited. He rose into the air as well. Dozens of talismans flew out and ignited. They merged and formed a round energy seal shield that resembled an 8 trigram. The shield appeared in front of him. This was a slightly comical sight to behold. Hua Wudao, the skilled defender, was attacking while Zhou Yuan, the skilled attacker, was defending. One of them was throwing his life away while the other was trying to preserve his own life. Just when the 6 compatible seal was before Zhou Yuan, Hua Wudao's reddened eyes gleamed coldly. He shouted, "Die." He joined his palms perpendicularly and pushed forward. The 9 scripts of his 6 compatible seal converged between his palms and formed an energy sword. He thrust it forward. The energy sword pierced Zhou Yuan's chest. Sect Master. The disciples and elders of the Celestial Masters sect were shocked by this sight. It was as though time and space had frozen. Hua Wudao was indeed skilled in defense. However, this did not mean that he did not know how to attack, he was merely not skilled in attacks. Since he came from a Taoist sect and had lived to such an old age, it was impossible for him to be completely unfamiliar with the sword path. However, the public was under the assumption that he did not know how to attack as well. At this moment, the 6 compatible seal was converted into an attack. This was probably Hua Wudao's final trump card and final struggle. The used sword remained sharp, and the old man remained firm. It did not feel good to have a sword pierce through one's chest. Only when his mind registered the pain did Zhu Yan realized he had been stabbed. His blood gushed out and dripped to the ground. He looked murderous. He scattered all his talismans with his dissipating primal chi. The talismans utilized the primal chi within 100 meters and formed energy swords. The talismans continued to burn as primal chi gathered around them. Hua Wudao chuckled. If Hua Yuesheng's dead, there's no reason for me to continue living. The talisman sword formation Zhu Yuan unleashed at the moment before his death was almost complete. What a madman. Lang Luo shook his head. Both of them were fighting with their lives. At the Evil Sky Pavilion, Lu Zhou saw this scene as well. He shook his head. Hua Wudao thinks you're dead. When Hua Yuesheng heard this, she was worried. She knew Hua Wudao treated her differently. For a time, she had difficulty voicing her thoughts and emotions. Finally, she cried out, "Pavilion Master, please do something." Lu Zhou looked around their surroundings. The 7 great sects were still in hiding. If he could not take them out in one fell swoop, it would be a shame. However, if he did not save Hua Wudao would most definitely die. At this moment, 2 figures seemed to be pulled by Lang Luo over to Hua Wudao. Lu Zhou focused his gaze. Was that not Duanmu Shang and little Yuan? Lang Luo said with a deep voice, "Little girl, your nirvana sash." Oh. Little Yuan had been honing her control over her weapon for a long time now. She finally had the chance to put it into practice. Her nirvana sash danced in the air and flew toward Hua Wudao at a terrifying speed. Duanmu Sheng pushed Lang Luo from the back. He was supporting Lang Luo with his vigorous primal chi. Lang Luo kept sending out hand seals as he worked with little Yuan, who sent the nirvana sash toward Hua Wudao to protect him. The remaining Evil Sky Pavilion disciples stared with their mouths agape. Zhu Honggong said excitedly, "You can do that? Awesome. Little junior sister, you're amazing." The sword formation in the air advanced on Hua Wudao. The 7 great sects communicated among themselves within the forest. Get ready. The Evil Sky Pavilion disciples are making a move. Get ready. Tell the 2 of them to sneak up on old villain Ji from the back of the mountain. This time, up to 1,000 cultivators from the 7 great sects swarmed out. There were huge chariots on land, huge chariots in the air, and mounts of varying grades. Lang Luo glanced at them and said, "Little girl, retract your nirvana sash. Focus." Oh. Little Yuan held her breath and sharpened her focus. Her nirvana sash responded to her. It wrapped around Hua Wudao and pulled him back swiftly. She exclaimed in joy and excitement, "This is handy." In her excitement, the nirvana sash slowed for a second. Lang Luo struck with his palm. His vigorous primal chi flowed along the nirvana sash and boosted its speed. Like a web, it caught Hua Wudao and kept him out of the range of the energy swords. The talisman's energy swords were truly terrifying. However, their weakness was obvious as well. When they erupted, they could not travel too far away from Zhu Yuan. Zhu Yuan was already heavily wounded and would not last long. He could not possibly travel with the sword formation in tow. Bam. 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 The energy swords struck the nirvana sash. Hua Wudao thought that he was a dead man. However, when he saw the Evil Sky Pavilion disciples and Lang Luo trying to save him so desperately, he cried out in fury and unleashed every bit of primal chi from his Dantian Sea of Chi. He brought the nirvana sash with him as he flew out of the range of the sword formation. At this moment, the 1,000-strong cultivators from the 7 great sects finally appeared under the moonlight. Zhu Yuan placed a hand on the gaping wound on his chest. His eyes gleamed coldly. Curses. As soon as Zhu Yan spoke, from the Evil Sky Pavilion's Great Hall, an energy arrow that seemed slimmer than the ones before but shone with a blue light shot toward him. Hua Yuesheng is still alive? The others looked up at the energy arrow from the Evil Sky Pavilion under the moonlight. Its target was Zhu Yuan, the sect master of the Celestial Masters sect. Block it. 5 cultivators raised their weapons to form a shield. Strangely, the energy arrow flew through the shield as though the shield was made of tofu. It flew and pierced the 5 cultivators' hearts before it finally pierced Zhu Yuan. The arrow that shot through the clouds stunned everyone present on the scene, especially the people from the 7 great sects. Since when did Hua Yuesheng become this powerful? The casual arrow shot did not look special save for the faint blue radiance. Compared to the arrow fired by the godly archer hidden among the trees, it was much slimmer. Taoist Master Zhu Yuan, the sect master of the Celestial Masters sect, was heavily injured by Hua Wudao. He was already on the brink of death. Before he died, the only thing he could do was ignite and send out all the talismans he had on him. The arrow shot caused the cultivators from the 7 great sects who had swarmed out from their hiding spot to fall silent for a short while. They could tell by the unique sound of the arrow sailing through the air that the arrow was powerful. It was beyond the capacity of ordinary people to comprehend this. Usually, after cultivators condensed their primal chi into energy, whether it was in the shape of a saber, a sword, or an energy seal, the further it traveled, the more it would be eroded by the air. Hence, when an archer wanted to hit a target over a long distance, they would usually form bigger energy arrows. However, this faint blue energy arrow was different. It was slim and exquisite. The whistling sound was also higher pitch compared to ordinary arrows. When it pierced the energy layers and their bodies, it packed a greater punch. How did Hua Yuesheng accomplish this from her hiding spot? She was only at the 3-leaf stage. It should have been impossible for her to fire an energy arrow such as this one. After a brief moment of stillness, the cultivators from the 7 great sects snapped back to their senses. The lifeless bodies of Zhu Yuan and the 5 cultivators could no longer maintain flight and fell to the ground. Ding. Killed a target. Reward, 1,500 merit points. Ding. Killed a target. Reward, 50 merit points. When Lu Zhou received the notifications, he shook his head. The values of the 5 cultivators who acted as human shields were very low. He turned and returned the falling moon bow to Hua Yuesheng. He saw Hua Yuesheng staring at him with her mouth agape, so he reminded her, "Take this." Of course. Hua Yuesheng snapped back to her senses and hastily took the bow. You should use the most suitable energy arrows when you're firing rapidly instead of focusing on power alone, Lu Zhou said. Thank you for your teaching, Pavilion Master. She had gained a lot from witnessing this arrow shot. When she fired her arrows previously, she merely sought speed and power. There were often moments where her target was already too far away, but she was still condensing a huge energy arrow. It was counterproductive. Pavilion Master, aren't you continuing? After learning so much from a single arrow shot from an elite displaying his skills, Hua Yuesheng, naturally, wanted to see more. Lu Zhou flipped his right hand. Unnamed materialized in his grasp. Before Hua Yuesheng could have a good look, Unnamed had already transformed into a mini bow. This is Unnamed Bow. Lu Zhou looked down at the battlefield. Hua Yuesheng felt excited. She looked at Unnamed Bow that was smaller than her falling moon bow. She could tell Lu Zhou's bow was much more superior to hers. After all, there were differences among heaven-grade weapons as well. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and waited for his chance. The heavenly writing's extraordinary power combined with a heaven-grade weapon could effectively suppress the elites of the 7 great sects if they were put to good use. As he looked at the incoming elites from the 7 great sects, he muttered to himself, "They're only the vanguard. Since they like to hide, I'll play along." Shooting arrows from the dark? Hua Yuesheng frowned, at first. However, she soon understood that it was only natural for an archer to remain hidden in the distance and fire arrows at unsuspecting enemies. Her aiming spot had been too open earlier. She was nearly taken out by the enemy's godly archer because of that. A senior's experience and thoughts about combat were something that left the juniors in the dust. Meanwhile, after Zhou Yuan, the sect master of the Celestial Masters sect, died, Hua Wudao safely returned to Zhu Honggong and Zhao Yu's sides. However, due to the intense expenditure of energy before this, he seemed pale. When he landed, he staggered slightly before stabilizing his footing. Zhu Honggong supported Hua Wudao. That was amazing. The tortoiseshell technique has truly widened my horizons. Hua Wudao had no time to entertain Zhu Honggong's flattery. He turned to glance at the evil sky pavilion's great hall, annoyed. The troops from the 7 great sects advanced slowly. The Yun sect's 9 elders felt relieved as they blended in with the others. Lang Luo looked up ahead and said, "Duanmu Shang, little girl, go back." "I won't." Little Yuan glared at her opponents. "Elder Lang, you've spent too much of your energy. You should head back." "Little junior sister and I can handle this," Duanmu Shang said before he shot up into the air and raised his overlord spear. Little Yuan flew up to his side. The flying chariots stopped. "Where is old villain Ji?" Duanmu Shang raised his overlord spear and asked, "Who's asking?" "I am Feng Qinghe of the Zhensong branch." Nearby, another voice rang from another flying chariot. "I'm the Henku branch's master, Ning Liang." "I'm Good Fortune Temple's current abbess, Miao Yin." "I am 7 Stars Villa's master, Jia Yuan." "I am Core Heart Sect's master, Lu Rushi." "I am the Duanlin branch's first disciple, Shao Jinhan." The mainstay of the 7 great sections. They were all here, apart from Zhu Yan, the sect master of the Celestial Masters sect, who died from an arrow piercing his vital organs a moment ago. Only 6 flying chariots were left hovering above the disciples of the sections. Even the previous force of the 10 great sects to storm Golden Court Mountain could not compare to this. Duanmu Sheng snorted and said, "How bold of you to provoke the evil sky pavilion time and time again. Do you think the evil sky pavilion won't retaliate?" Feng Qinghe chuckled and said, "All of us here have core disciples who lost their lives to the evil sky pavilion. Not only did you go on a killing spree, targeting the 10 great sects, but you didn't even spare the Yun sect. Do I need to elaborate further? You can dump your crap somewhere else." Duanmu Sheng could not help but curse. He brandished his overlord spear, and several energy seals spun and emerged from the tip of his spear. Bam! 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 Feng Qinghe stood inside his flying chariot while striking with his palms. His expansive heavenly energy flowed like a river and parried the overlord spear's energy blade. At this juncture, there was nothing more to be said. The noble and fiend paths had fallen out completely, and this did not happen overnight. At the end of the day, it had to be settled on the battlefield. "You should tell the old villain Ji to show himself." The disciples below struck the ground with their weapons. Dong! 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 The noise resonated throughout Golden Court Mountain. Lang Luo looked up at the moon. This was destined to be a night of disturbances. How would the evil sky pavilion survive this ordeal? When he looked at the scale of the enemy forces, he was losing his confidence. If he was alone, with his strength and cultivation base, he would have long fled. Alas, he was not alone. At this moment, several cultivators flew toward Duanmu Sheng. They engaged in battle, and their energies collided. The core individuals of the 7 sects inside the flying chariots would not show themselves so easily. They occasionally shot an energy seal at Duanmu Sheng. Bam! 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 Duanmu Sheng brandished his weapon and parried the energy seals. The enemy's attention seemed to be completely focused on him at this moment. Hua Wudao can't continue fighting, and Lang Luo is merely putting up a show. Only the disciples of the evil sky pavilion are worth our concern. There's nothing to fear if they aren't at the 5-leaf stage and above. I'd like to see how long old villain Ji can stay hidden. Lu Rushi, the sect master of the Core Heart sect, walked out of his flying chariot. He had only just shown his face when a mini energy arrow with a faint blue glow shot out from the Evil Sky Pavilion's great hall. Whoosh! The sound was crisp and deafening. When Lu Rushi saw this, he said in a deep voice, "I'm not as stupid as Zhu Yuan." Zhu Yuan had been heavily wounded while Lu Rushi was in top condition. There was no way he would be unable to block this little energy arrow. He adjusted his position slightly but instantly discovered the energy arrow had shifted its trajectory as well. It was as though the energy arrow was homing in on him. The disciples from the 7 great sects looked up at Lu Rushi. Lu Rushi raised his arms and erected an energy shield before himself. He seemed to shine with a golden light. Whoosh! The energy arrow easily pierced through the energy shield, Lu Rushi's body, the flying chariot behind him, and the cultivator who manned the helm at the back of the flying chariot. Lu Rushi's eyes widened as he stared at the Evil Sky Pavilion. This? The air seemed to freeze over again. Sect Master Lu. Sect Master Lu, what's wrong? It had happened too quickly. Lu Rushi did not even get a good glimpse of the energy arrow when it pierced his chest. The Evil Sky Pavilion's godly archer, Hua Yueshing? Impossible. She can't be this powerful. Damn it. The Evil Sky Pavilion is firing arrows from the dark. What's wrong with firing arrows from the dark? Isn't normal for the Fiend Path to employ such methods? The people from the Evil Sky Pavilion thought to themselves. Although the dim moonlight did not illuminate much, everyone still saw Lu Rushi, the sect master of the Core Heart sect, falling off his chariot. That's amazing, Lady Hua. Pan Zhong praised as he flew above their heads. Get lost. Can't you keep your mouth shut if you have nothing better to say? Boom. Lu Rushi fell to the ground. The members of the 7 great sects, or technically, the 8 great sects, and several other minor sects stood riveted on the ground as they stared at the fallen Lu Rushi.